Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's me Lunas, and today we'll continue the Rimworld run. As normal, we'll get straight into things, and we can see that a lot of the work from the previous episode towards the end has been finished. Most of the steel has been mined out, the potato harvest is nearly done, and the outer defences have been constructed, with the inner defences being worked on now. Once those are deconstructed, we can assign some new inner defenses, which are going to focus around giving Crafter and Grey lots of opportunities to run around defending the multiple choke points. The ship is out of meat again, and I am going to have Sam try and hunt one of these elephants. It does end up deciding to attack, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue with only one of them. I think our mentality for the time being is going to be to thin the herd. As taking on all of them at once is going to end up causing maybe a death. Grey was only just about to handle 6 or 7 of those elephants at once, and he was extremely injured to the torso, so could we get unlucky, he could take a hit to the head or more hits to the torso that could kill him. Crafter is back up again though, so our melee combat has been strengthened again. And I'm hoping that the elephant herd stays somewhat spread out. It will make it easier to hunt them in the future. And just to ensure we have a little bit more meat, we are going to hunt some of the not so dangerous enemies. We have deadlift being used again for the more aggressive. He does end up missing a couple of shots, but it's no big deal. And we'll have him haul his kill back. The inner defenses have been deconstructed. And we can work on the inner defenses next. And with that, we put a couple of doors on the defenses. The outer doors to help delay a little bit by forcing them to go through the barricades and potentially over the traps. And then we're going to block off 2 of the inner ones from the entrances I least expect raiders to use, as we have 2 melee combatants, so they can block the remaining 2 entrances. And the corners give a lot of room to keep our raiders out of enemy fire while forcing them to come in. I have spotted some additional components to the south, which we're going to work on mining next as the steel is done. And I'm also going to look for any exposed valuable resources. There is another component vein on the other side of the mountain, as well as a jade deposit, which we will queue up to be mined. Lane and Tree's moods are somewhat poor. Tree's mostly because of her increased needs from her titles and her ideologian stature, and Lane mostly because of recreation. Grey is just Grey and will have issues in general. He doesn't have that many positives going for him, so his mood is low a fair amount of the time. I receive a quest to shelter some nobles, although we are probably going to have to build a room that I'm unsure we can make by that time. We might be able to build it, but the only problem is the next place I plan to go is space. The bionic leg would be nice. That could be good, but it's unnecessary for the time being, and the plasteel would be nice. But the thing is we can get plasteel fairly easily now if we install the scanner, which is going to be done relatively soon. So I think I'm going to ignore it, because it's plus 5 people for 17 days. And last time we weren't able to stay in space very long at all, due to food running out faster than I anticipated. So while staying here, we're going to be preparing to spend the long term in space. And towards that end, we're going to need a fair amount of resources. The jobs I had assigned are done, so we're going to mine out more steel. The construction of the gravlight panels is coming along. And we are starting to get low on backstone, with only 395 left. Sienna gets a inspiration. The first of the new rooms is just about finished, and we can see that we are going to need to bend the corridor around this way, and I'm probably only going to build one more room here, and instead of building the rooms on the opposite side to save gravlight panels, I'm just going to do the wall. We will probably still be lacking on bedrooms though, unfortunately. But it does depend on how many gravlight panels Lane can make over the next couple of days. That being said though, we don't have the ability to make that many more regardless. There is a slight issue with bedrooms. The thrusters kind of knock into it a little bit. So I might switch up the design of the corridor slightly in order to accommodate a weirdly shaped bedroom. It is going to use up more panels though. And also, to get to the end of the corridor, we are going to have to make a new grav field extender. So we'll do that now. Okay, it appears I can only build them in proximity to the ship, so I'm going to have to think about this a little more. Okay, a new grav field extender is being put in a temporary position. It does give us a bit of space to manipulate this area. I'm thinking we actually put prison cells on the end of here anyway, because then it doesn't matter how big they are. And then we'll just go with the normal defensible corridors we've been doing. Although because of how the grav field extenders work, we can't build the bedroom types we were planning on building, so we're gonna have to make some adjustments. Kiko gets the flu. And we will work on getting them tended to. A good quality tend and a breach health should keep them in the running. I hadn't realized Kiko had the sickly trait, despite them being an original colonist, I believe. So I am finding new things out about them that I'm likely to forget again in the future. So we are going to have a number of colonists gather to hunt down the 2 elephants nearby. And this should allow us to get straight back to work cooking again. I accidentally send Crafter in by accident, but he does manage to bait a melee attack from one of the elephants and hold it in place for a few more seconds. The foundation for the new corridor section is almost complete, and Crafter has a inspiration. It will only make him work faster for the next few days though. And apparently steel is allowed for large sculptures, something I hadn't realized. So we will disallow that and double check what sculptures have been made. He has ended up using some vaxstone, which is unfortunate. I was pretty sure I had assigned this so it didn't happen like that, but we can deal with that. It explains why the jade hasn't been used as quickly as I expected it to be. Considering art is his main job. And while I remember, I will have Lane use his transmute ability. And we do end up getting some more plasteel, which is good news. Lane may be enough so that he can provide all of the plasteel needs for the graphite panels by himself. But obviously, as we come to need it for other things like bionics, his ability will fall off somewhat in terms of how much it can supply. Mostly due to it producing like quite a few other things. It produces, from what I've seen, twisted meat, gold, uranium, and plasteel from steel, and there's potentially some other things it can produce. Oh, and bioferrite as well. I'm unsure if it can produce jade or not, but we have a couple of minor break risks, mostly due to recreation and tiredness. I am a little bit worried that Tree is tired. I'm assuming it's because her movement speed debuff. I decide to eject the fuel from the large chem fuel tank, as we don't currently need it. The ship is not required to travel long distance at the moment, so we can use that to fuel the ship for the time being. And then, once the rice field is complete, we can work on gathering some more fuel. With the colonists now up and about, we can gather up some of our troops and have them head towards the elephants. they do decide to split up, which makes things easier for us, and we will no longer need grey. Sam was able to get through 2 elephants without any of the meat rotting as well, so we are going to kill all of them. The hunt is finished without any issue, and the strip mining work has started. The main reason Sam was able to get through all this pemmican with help from Jensen is that the bill was so high. We are going to increase it to 5,000. This won't be permanent, it's just to fund another trip into space, as we still don't have onboard growing yet, and we don't really have the resources to do that either. There are some more elephants over here to hunt as well, so we should be able to get a decent amount of that pemmican bill sorted out. Progress on the rice field has been somewhat slower, unfortunately. Okay. We are gonna gather all of our colonists to the scanner. And the children will make sure they are aboard the ship. It's not a very strong raid though. I'm not concerned at all. And because of that, I think we're going to stick in the inner area. It would just be easier to draw them in then. Okay, they are going aboard the ship. I was certain they'd prioritize the scanner before anything else, so we can just gun them down as they leave. Unfortunately, they do steal the grav extender, so we are gonna need to make a new one. Which is gonna use up all of the grav light panels we'd been hoping would fill in this part of the corridor. Tree ends up hiding in her room, and I have noticed that with all of the rice and pemmican starting to fill up the hallway, the storeway is struggling, And we still have the issue of multiple bedrooms being stocked full of shelves as well. So we are going to temporarily make some shelving in this room over here, as it's not currently being used. And we will figure out a new area to put shelving in as the ship further expands. Our strip mining efforts are rewarded early on, as we're able to find some components. We do have a decent amount, so it's not a massive find, but it's much better than nothing. We received the Grab Ship Shield Generator for finishing the surveying quest. We will remain here for a little more time though, to harvest the next rice field, the potato field, and the hill root. And hopefully the strip mining can yield more results before we do end up leaving. We have enough gravelite panels to build the corridor corner. A heat wave does strike the ship, and a boom rat does go mad. The boom rat is not an issue, we can deal with that. The main issue is actually the heat wave. Prop does take a little damage, mostly due to them not being able to hit it, because it's so small. The thing we need to do now though, is quickly fill this part in. And paused chem fuel production, as we need the wood for the passive coolers. So we'll have to get on that immediately, or people are gonna start going down. Jensen has decided to become hostile. We'll have Crafter deal with him. He does survive. His shoulder is cut off, but we will work on capturing him and recruiting him. This is how the event is supposed to play out. Last time, when Lane became hostile, he wasn't actually hostile. We can turn him into a hemogen farm, which reminds me of Crafter needing hemogen. I am going to queue a couple of people to provide some. And then we're going to work on recruiting Jensen. Kiko can tend to him. A mechanoid cluster has arrived. I'm unsure. I can't remember if they can wake up. Just from people going near. So I'm gonna do something about that. We're gonna invert area 1. And then clear allowed area. Why is it not working? Invert. Am I clicking it too many times? Yeah, there we go. I've double clicked it multiple times by mistake. So we'll do that. It doesn't seem like there's a countdown timer here, so that's no issue. The passive coolers in the main room of the ship aren't actually providing enough in the way of cooling, so I am gonna have to make a actual cooler, which is gonna then heat into the rest of the ship. That is something we can deal with later on. It's not too much of an issue now, as it is still open. An elephant does self-tame. We will keep it alive for the time being, and kill it at a more strategic time. The cooler seems to be working on the main room. Meanwhile, I am going to work on getting a corridor set up. The new prison room is going to be built here. And then we can work on the rest of the corridor. The corridor's reinforcement in this area is going to be made from uranium, as we have plenty for the time being. I do want to extend it slightly though, as much as I can. The longer the corridor is, the more useful it's going to be. The corridor is worked on. I have noticed that the lower part of the corridor is slightly too thin to allow the too wide area we've had for the rest of the ship corridors. So we are going to move it down by 1. We get a valuable collection offering a biomutation lance. I'm not too interested in going to claim just that. A solar flare does strike, causing the current work to be stopped. The herbal medicine has been completed, and we can haul that aboard. Hopefully it lasts a decent while. The following morning the power comes back online, and we can use that to continue producing gravelite panels. The elephant that tamed a couple of days ago can now be slaughtered. And we have still not gained anything else from strip mining. The heatwave is making animals start to leave the map, and not wanting to lose out, I aim to kill a couple more animals, including an elephant, as to not lose out. The cooler is struggling again, trying to keep the main room temperature cool. It is working somewhat. The rest of the gravelite panels for the lower part of the ship can now be put in place, and Thorpe has a mental break. The temperature luckily has dropped due to it being nighttime, and the heat wave has just subsided, which should now keep Thorpe safe. It seems Jensen had been doing a lot more to contribute to food the night before, as the elephant meat that rotted, I'm pretty sure happened when he was in prison. So SAM alone isn't enough at the moment to stop it all from rotting. I am tempted, now that the temperature's under control, to bring the temperature of the main room down to 5 degrees to try and keep it refrigerated. This will just stop it from rotting as quickly. Although I'm not sure if one cooler alone can even bring it down that far. The design for the ship corridor is now complete, and we can work on getting that set up, as well as lit. We are now out of vaxstone, so we had just enough to make all of the ship upgrades we needed. This does mean that I can't really install the shield generator yet though. The only place I can install it would be within a bedroom that I generally need to use, or in the ritual room, which would cause a mood debuff. The corridor is inlaid with uranium to try and increase its durability and keep it in the fight longer, and to try and prevent breaches into rooms or into space. I am going to install a security door at the end of the corridor though, to delay and buy time, and for visual aesthetic as well. With the ship upgrades finished though, and no more being able to be done, I feel like this is a good point to end the episode. We've done everything we can on this map, and are now just waiting for our crops to finish growing. We may harvest slightly early, I'm unsure yet. We do have to haul a couple more resources from around the map, but that's fine. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you are enjoying the series so far, please consider liking and subscribing. It massively helps the channel out and lets me know that you enjoy the content I produce. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.